guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the brand the Don Deeva. These polishes all go on sale on December 13th, so in the description box below I will link the Don Deeva site, I will link their Instagram page, and I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from today's video. So I have a total of 14 polishes to look at, and let's go ahead and get started. So starting off with the Facebook fan group monthly exclusive polish, this is called Planet of the Grapes, and it's described as a purple polish base with copper to bronze to gold ultra chrome chameleon flakies, and this one will retail for $12. So here's our first coat of Planet of the Grapes. This one is more of a jelly, so it is a little bit on the sheer side. It does have a good formula, very smooth, easy to work with, no running, pulling, or staining. You do get a good amount of these flakies out without having to do anything special, and as you build up these layers, you'll be able to see through the jelly base to each previous layer, and it'll look like a flaky pond. So this is building up well in 2 coats, but it's not completely opaque, so I am going to go in for a 3rd coat. These flakes, some of them are larger, so some of them will dry with the slightest bit of texture. You will want a top coat to smooth that out, though this one does dry pretty glossy all on its own. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats. I do have a picture of this, a macro photo of this with a matte top coat if you were curious as to what that looked like. Heads up, it is beautiful. Nothing in this polish is going to be difficult to remove as these are all flakies and nothing is glitter. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have 24 Karrots Pees, and this is described as a glorious topper in a clear base loaded with original unicorn pea and 24 karat gold leaf. This one will retail for $22. So here on 2 nails, I'm going to layer 24 Karrots Pees on its own, and then I will add a black and white base color to my remaining 2 nails. So this one doesn't build up to opacity on its own, but it does give a beautiful wash of color and a nice shifty quality. The gold flakes that are in here also stand out much more in person than on camera. I'm not sure why you can't see literally any of them, but they're definitely there. So this one does dry glossy, nothing is going to dry textured. If you didn't want to top coat this, that would be completely fine. I do prefer this layered over lighter colors if you are going to wear it that way. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have Sleigh Hello to My Little Friend, and this is described as an indigo jelly polish with red to green original unicorn pea, hollow flakes, and crystal flakes. This one will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Sleigh Hello to My Little Friend. So this one does cover pretty well here on this first coat. It's obviously not completely opaque, so I am going to go in for a 2nd coat. But again, this has a nice, smooth, easy to work with formula, very buttery. I hate referring to nail polish as butter because like that seems wrong in every way, but it is like nice and smooth. So this is completely opaque in 2 coats. This is going to dry dull and with the slightest bit of texture, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off. Nothing's going to be difficult to remove as all of the like glitter particles that are in here are extremely small, so they kind of incorporate with the base. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Show Yourself, and this one was inspired by Frozen 2. This is described as a beautiful lilac jelly base with original unicorn pea that shifts from red to green to gold. This one also has ultra chrome chameleon flakies and teal to purple to pink, and it will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Show Yourself, and again I'm going to do 2 coats or 2 nails on its own and then 2 nails layered over a black and a white. This one also has a good formula. Again, you get a good distribution of those flakies and you don't have to do any manipulation to get them to go kind of evenly across the nail. When you layer this over white, it is going to tint the base white as it is a purple tinted base. You could theoretically put this over anything, but it would definitely look best over darker colors, white or purples and pinks and that kind of spectrum. This one is going to dry pretty glossy, not like fully plumpy like you used a top coat, so I would still recommend a top coat, and nothing's going to be difficult to remove. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have La Befana, and this is described as a thermal polish loaded with original unicorn pea in the blue to purple sister pigment, and when it's cold like this it's magenta purple, and then when it's warm it shifts to a red and a hot pink when hot. Here's our first coat of La Befana. So this covers really well here on this first coat. Virtually opaque in one coat. I can make out just a little bit of nail line as it dries because it is going to dry to its warmer state on my natural skin temperature. But it is very opaque. Smooth, easy to work with formula, a little bit on the thicker side, but not difficult to work with whatsoever. So this is completely opaque in 2 coats. This one does dry down fully matte. If you don't love that, you will want a glossy top coat to finish this one off. But nothing in this is going to dry textured, and nothing's going to be difficult to remove, and the thermal properties in this are very sensitive, so it is very nice. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Evil Candy Canes, and this is described as a dirty red jelly base with fire orange ultra chrome chameleon flakies and red to green original unicorn pea. This one will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Evil Candy Canes. Ooh, this shot is really blown out. This one is a little bit sheer here on this first coat. Again, we're working with a jelly-ish formula, so that is to be expected. But this one does build up for me to opacity in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you might want to go in for a third. These flakes, again, are easy to get out of the bottle and easy to spread out evenly across the nail. So here's our second coat, and again, that does cover completely for me in 2 coats. This one is going to dry pretty much fully matte, so you will want a top coat to smooth this out if you don't love that finish. But nothing's going to dry textured, and nothing's going to be difficult to remove. So there's 2 coats. Next up we have Solar Butterfly, and this is a solar polish that's a light teal blue-green with a jelly-like base. This also has crystal flakes that go from copper to gold to green, and when the sun hits this it turns to a deeper, darker blue. This one will retail for $13. Here's our first coat of Solar Butterfly. So this covers pretty well here on this first coat. Obviously not completely opaque, so I am going to go in for a second coat, but again, a smooth, easy to work with formula. The solar properties of this one and the next polish are extremely sensitive, which means that I was practically unable to show you what they look like in their solar states. This one was easier to catch than the last one was, or than the next one is. So you will get a clip of this at the end of what it looks like as a solar, but this is completely opaque in 2 coats, dries dull, and nothing's difficult to remove. So that's what it looks like solar in 2 coats. Up next we have Flustered over Spicy Mustard, and this is a solar polish that's a spicy mustard color base with ultra chrome chameleon flakies in the copper to orange to red shades. This one also has original unicorn pea in it that shifts from red to green, and when this one's out in the sun it shifts to a greeny blue. This one will retail for $17. So here's our first coat of Flustered over Spicy Mustard. So again, this one does cover pretty well here on this first coat. I didn't have any running, pooling, or staining. Now the staining though, depending on, I just would recommend wearing a base coat for this one. This color does tend to stain, but as I just swatched this and I didn't actually wear it, I don't have any say to that. So this is opaque in 2 coats. It does dry matte. You'll want a top coat to smooth that out if you don't love that finish, but nothing's going to be difficult to remove. Again, the solar properties are very sensitive, so I had an extremely hard time capturing this one in the solar state. And this is the best I could do. It changed quickly, I'm sorry. Up next we have Smirks Smiles, and this is described as a turquoise jelly base with heavy ultra chrome chameleon flakies in the purple to red to pink to blue range. This one also has a bunch of original unicorn pea that shifts from red to green, and this will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Smirks Smiles. This one's a little bit sheer here on this first coat. Again, it's more of that jelly-ish formula, so that is to be expected. A smooth, easy to work with formula though, no running or pooling or staining. Easy flakes to get out, easy to manipulate, easy to get them to spread out evenly. No issues whatsoever. The shifty shimmer stands out super duper well also. Really think this is a beautiful polish. So this is building up well in 2 coats, but I am going to go in for a 3rd coat today. If you're not super picky, 2 coats might be completely fine for you, but I also think that 3rd coat helps kind of even out my uneven application. So here's that 3rd coat, and that does cover completely. This one is going to dry decently glossy. I would still recommend a top coat just to give it that nice finished look, but nothing in this is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So there is 3 coats. Up next we have Head Concho, and this is described as a tan polish with original unicorn pea that shifts from red to green and copper to red to gold ultra chrome chameleon flakies, as well as hollow flakes, and this will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Head Concho. So being what this is, this covers really, really well here on this first coat. You get a boatload of these flakies out without having to do literally anything, and they spread out so easily. This is another polish that I would consider like buttery, just glides so easily. So this is our 2nd coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. This one also looks beautiful with a matte top coat. I do have a macro shot of that on my Instagram if you're interested. You will want top coat because this dries dull, but nothing's going to be difficult to remove, so there is 2 coats. Up next we have Illumina'TEA, and this is described as a charcoal gray base with the unicorn pea with blue shifts. This one's also loaded with ultra chrome chameleon flakies in the teal to pink to purple range, and she will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Illumina'TEA. I am going to show you what 1 coat looks like today over black, as well as 3 coats on its own. I always talk about how multi-chromes you can layer them over black, but I actually never show it, so I'm going to show you what that looks like today. I do have macros of this over black on my Instagram as well. It does give a slightly different appearance. So this is completely opaque in 3 coats on its own. You will want top coat to smooth this out because it does dry dull, but nothing is going to dry textured, nothing's going to be difficult to remove, and over black, if this isn't the most Slytherin look in the world, I don't know what is. So I actually really like it for that aspect alone. So there's 1 and 3 coats. So up next we have Don't Eat Yellow Snow, and this is described as a white crelly polish with original unicorn pea that shifts from red to green to gold. And this one also has the hollow flakes that go throughout it, and she will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of Don't Eat Yellow Snow. So this does cover actually really well here on this first coat. Not totally even, not totally opaque, so this is definitely one that's going to have to be built up, but I was thoroughly shocked at how well this covered on just 1 coat. I was also really surprised at how well you could see the shifty shimmer in this one. I didn't catch it the best in my photos, as I never do, but it's there in person and it is really beautiful. So this is building up well in 2 coats. I am going to go in for a 3rd coat just to kind of even everything out. If you are a little bit more careful, you could probably get this one opaque in 2 coats. This one does have an easy formula to work with as well. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. Very, very beautiful polish. So this is completely opaque in 3 coats. You will want a top coat to smooth this out. It does dry on the dull side. I don't know why I said smooth it out. There's nothing to smooth out. Nothing's going to dry textured in this. And that being said, nothing in this is going to be difficult to remove either. So there is 3 coats. Up next we have Gravy Not Sauce, and this is described as a thermal polish that starts as a red to pink sheer polish, and this one has hints of green to gold unicorn shifty shimmer, and she will retail for $17. Here's our first coat of gravy knot sauce. So this one covers really well here on this first coat. I can still make out a little bit of my nail line, and I know as it gets to the warmer state, that nail line will become a little bit more visible because it does dry to a lighter color. So I am going to go in for a second coat today, but again, a smooth, easy to work with formula, no running, pooling, or staining. The shimmer that's in here also stands out really, really well. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. This is going to dry down fully matte. If you don't love that, you will want a top coat just to bring this one back to life. This one is also extremely temperature sensitive. I didn't have any issues with it shifting at all. And here is my transition and 2 coats. And then lastly for today we have Beerbongs and Bentleys, and this is described as a blue-gray base with original unicorn pea, hollow flakes, and a pinch of micro hexes. This one also shifts from the red to the green to the gold with the unicorn pea and a hollow dusting, and it will retail for $17. And here's our first coat of Beerbongs and Bentleys. Now this one covers really, really well here on this first coat. It's not a one coater, but it does have like the potential to be eventually. I didn't have any kind of staining with this one. If you are prone to staining with blues, I would recommend wearing a base coat with this. I did not, but again, I only wore this to swatch it and move on. Formula is smooth, not too thick, not too thin, very easy to use. So this is completely opaque in 2 coats. Normally with more opaque polishes, you have a harder time seeing the shifty shimmer. It's not as strong as say like 24 carats and peas, but it is definitely there. This will dry dull and nothing's going to be difficult to remove. So there is 2 coats. So I do have a few standouts from this collection, the first one being Flustered over Spicy Mustard. I really like this in both states. I do prefer it in the like indoor lighting state, which is good for me because I didn't get it to stay in the sunshiny state for long enough to even really get a picture of it. So I do really, really like this in both states, but prefer it in the state that it's in right now, this like pea green kind of state. My next favorite being Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. I think this is so beautiful. It's just white, but it's got, you know, that shifty shimmer to it, so it makes it really special and unique. A really good formula, very, very beautiful polish, really like that one. But then I think my favorite of all of them would be Head Concho. I mean, it's got that unicorn pea shimmer, it's got the flakies in it, it's got a beautiful formula, looks really gorgeous, matte and glossy. So these are the standouts for me from today's video. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.